Now, did Mr. Begin make a similar statement to you?
Yes, Prime Minister Begin made the statement that he is ready to sign the agreement that was laid out in print at Camp David. As you know, that President Sadat, there has been expressed some desire for further clarification. I think the difficulty seems to rest upon the meaning of words and trying to define those terms in at least two separate articles of the agreement. Prime Minister Begin stated this afternoon that he is ready to sign the agreement that was presented at Camp David. I think that all I can say at this time is that negotiations are now slated to go forward, and speaking as the spokesman of this delegation, I can assure you that every member of this delegation, and without question the members of the United States Congress, will be pleased that the peace efforts will go forward at this time.
Sir, do you have any indication of the timing, level, or place of the next meeting between the two sides?
No, this was not discussed either by President Sadat or by Prime Minister Begin.
In addition to meeting with the Prime Minister, you also had quite a long session with the Defense Minister and with some of Israel's top military men. What was discussed at that part of the meeting, if you can ask?
This delegation has been concerned in its trip to 5 separate countries with the varying approach to the problems of civil defense. We have addressed the problems and approaches to civil defense in the countries of Ireland, Norway, Switzerland, Egypt, and of course in Israel. In addition to that, this delegation was charged with the responsibility to gain an on-site briefing on the strategic arms limitation talks, the SALT talks, and also to gain an understanding of the relative balance of power of forces in the Middle East, and to bring back some current word regarding the status of Mideast talks. We have worked to complete this responsibility, and the presentation by your Minister of Defense, Minister Weizman, dealt directly with the areas of civil defense, the balance of power in the Mideast, particularly with regard to your neighboring countries to the east and north, and the question also of areas of disagreement over the Camp David Accords were, of course, addressed by the Prime Minister.
Mr. McDonough, you are concerned about the situation in Iran and the impact on the general strategic. Does Israel have a similar concern, or how would you describe their reaction to what's going on in Iran?
Well, I think that's interesting because there is unanimity of opinion. President Sadat expressed great concern about the upheaval in Iran. We in the United States have great concern. Iran has been an ally within the free world structure, has been a major supplier of resources to the free world, most particularly Japan, but also to Europe and the United States and to Israel. So that is a major concern to the United States. And I think Prime Minister Begin this afternoon sounded an optimistic note, expressing first concern about Iran, but then going on to say that he hoped that the new government that was formed would be able to overcome the difficulties, to move off of the economic standstill, and the initial word from Iran seems to suggest that progress is being made. Mr. Begin was not anxious to write off Iran, but was very hopeful that Iran would be able to come out of the present turmoil. And I think that's a sought-after objective that all sound men could wish for.
Yes. Did he express any?
Has been a long-standing regard for the Arab nations in general. President Sadat did express grave concern for the overall strategic picture of the free world. and of the fact that we have seen in not too distant months the Marxist Muslim state. Many people have thought that would be an inconsistency. We have seen that it is not necessarily an inconsistency. In the case of Afghanistan, we've also seen the upheaval and the problems, the turmoil in Iran. The outcome is uncertain. Turkey is showing problems of stability. At the same time, we have seen strong Soviet arms supplies to Iraq and Syria, and the arms supplies to Libya are of such magnitude that it's amazing that some portions of it perhaps do not tilt into the Mediterranean because we have seen such tremendous influences of Soviet expansion. Of course, in Africa, we have seen the East Germans and Cubans being used as surrogate forces. So, this overall strategic understanding has been expressed with concern by President Sadat and also your Prime Minister Begin and Minister of Defense Weizman this afternoon. We are dealing with a world force, international communism, that has never wavered from its objective